All right. So equations. First question that we want to do, it says for each of the following equations, state whether it is true or false. So does the left-hand side of the equation equal the right-hand side of the equation? So starting with B, the two that I've highlighted there, B, this question, you are told that A is equal to 4. So you have to substitute that in before you can evaluate the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So that would change it to 3 times 4 minus 3. So I'm replacing the A with the 4 equals 4 plus 5. So then you grab your calculator out and you just type in the left-hand side of that equation. 3 times 4 is 12, minus 3 is 9. Does that equals 4 plus 5? That equals 9 as well. So yes, that is true. They are equal to each other. Okay, question C. This doesn't have anything to substitute in, so I need to calculate each time. 16 take away 9 is 7, so you can write the answer underneath, okay? And for the other side, you need to do the brackets first, so 7 take away 3 is 4. 28 divided by 4 is also 7, so that one's true as well. I must have picked the two good ones. Question 2 says, to write an equation for each of the scenarios, you do not need to solve it. Okay, you're just trying to take the sentence that is there and write it as an equation. So it says Sandra's height is h. H is going to be the pronumeral that we're using. Robert is 20 centimetres taller. Robert's height is 64. So if I were to start with Sandra's height h and I add 20 to her height, that's how tall Robert is, right? Because it said he was 20 centimetres taller. His height was equal to 164. Okay, so I don't have to solve it. That's all I'm after, just being able to write it as an equation. Okay, keep moving. Question 3 here, cross that one off. You don't need to do that. Question 4, solving equations. So this is where you do the opposite. We did lots and lots of these. So when you look at the A in that equation, A plus 5 equals 18, the A is with one other number, the 5. You have to do the opposite to get the A by itself. And remember that add and subtract are opposites of each other, and times and divide are opposites of each other. So opposite of a plus 5 is to minus 5 to both sides, because you have to keep it balanced. Okay, that means that the 5 with my A disappears, leaving A all by itself, and I subtract 18 take away 5, which is 13, to get my answer. Okay, that's a one-step equation. We can do a lot more steps than that though. So E, boys, can we have some quiet please? E has two numbers. So here's the E, and I've got these two numbers that are on that side of the equation with it. These are the two numbers that I have to get rid of. The question in your mind is, which one do I do first? No, you start from further away and work your way closer. So the 27 goes first. What is the opposite? No. The minus belongs with the, oh sorry, did you say minus 27? Oh, you were right. Sorry, I thought you were going to say, you were right. Yes. It's a plus 27. The minus belongs with the 3. So the opposite is to minus the 27 to get rid of that. Okay, so that leaves minus 3e, and then we type in our calculators 18 minus 27 to get a negative 9. Now we need to do the second step. I need to get rid of the minus 3. What's the opposite? No, that one's definitely wrong. Because they're next to each other, times. So the opposite is? No, opposite. Divide. We're going to divide by negative 3. Okay, so that will give E equals Minus 9 divided by minus 3 is a positive 3. Okay, remember to show the steps. You get marks for showing your progress. Question 5, a few more. So remember, guys, if you don't need my help, you can work ahead, but you shouldn't be chatting, okay? It's just making it harder for everyone else to hear. Question C. We've got the pronumeral here, and I have these two numbers. Which one moves first? 7. The 3, what's the opposite? Times, good. So underneath, times 3 times 3. So that will leave C plus 7 equals 3 times 9 is 27. Now get rid of the 7. What's the opposite? Minus. So you have minus 7, C equals 20. Okay, fractions can sometimes be confusing. In this case, it has to do the pre-first. Is that the same for this? No. This one has a fraction going underneath that 7, so I can move the 7 while the fraction is still there. But in this one, the fraction is only over the 8. But I'm going to beckon that just there. So the first thing you need to move is actually 4. What is the opposite? Minus 4. So minus 4 on both sides. Oh, Josh, you're the only one who's awake today. Then I can times by the negative 8. Good thing you're here, Josh. All right, so F equals negative 24. That's a bit better. Oh, easy mistake to do. Sorry about that. Okay, keep going. Let's do some more. Question 6. This has pronumerals sides. When I do these questions, I like to move the smaller pronumeral away because I want to collect it up. So from the 6x and the 4x that is in that equation, the 4x is smaller. What is the opposite? How do you move that whole term? You subtract it. So I'm going to subtract 4x. Collecting the x's. 6x minus 4x is 2x. I still have the plus 5, and that is equal to the 17. Okay, so I've been able to reduce my equation down now so that there is only one x in it, which is good. Because now, to get the x by itself, I'm going to get rid of the numbers. Which one goes first? Minus 5, good. Make sure you're checking me. 2x equals 12. All right, the next step is to divide by the 2. X equals 6, because 12 divided by 2 is 6. D is the same kind of question, so let's try that again. I have an x on both sides, 7x and 5x. The 5x is smaller. To move it, I subtract it. That will get rid of the 5x's from the right-hand side. Subtracting the left-hand side, 7x take away 5x is 2x's, and that is equal to negative 12. Okay, I still need to get rid of the 2 in front of my x. How do I do that? I divide by 2. Good. So x equals negative 6. Okay, we're just progressing through all the different types of equations. The next ones have brackets. With A, you could do two different things. You could divide the 6 away to get rid of the bracket, but you can't always divide. Like with D, you can't do that method because there's other things there. So I'm always going to expand the brackets, just so we always do that method because that will always work, okay? All right, to expand the brackets, we do 6 times A is 6A. 6 times minus 3 is minus 18. Okay, that's equal to 24. Now it's just your 2 steps to get the A by itself. So let's add the 18. So we get 6A equals 24 plus 18 is 42. And then last step, divide the 6. Good. So A equals 7. Very good. Okay, so whenever you see brackets, we expand them out, which is what we're going to do for D now. So D looks quite messy. There's quite a few things going on there. But the first thing you should do is expand the brackets. 3 times 2D is 6D. 3 times minus 9 is negative 27. The 5D is just sitting there, and the 105 is still just sitting there. The 6D and the 5D are on the same side of the equation. Don't do an opposite. They're on the same side, you're just collecting like terms. 6 plus 5 makes 11 Ds, minus 27 equals 105. Okay? Now that I've simplified that, I need to do 2 steps to get the D by itself. What's the first step? Plus 27. So 11D equals 132, is that? Yes? And then, last step, divide by 11. So D equals 12. Okay. Okay, so worksheet 2, still as equations, so we keep going. In this first question, we are using the rule C is equal to 6n plus 4. And there's 2 different types of questions. In the first one's the easy one, because we're trying to find C, which is by itself, and we're just subbing in that n is equal to 8. That's the easy one. The second one down here, we'll have to rearrange the equation to at the end. Okay? All right, so the easy one first. In your equation, replace the n with the 8. So it's C equals 6 times 8, you need a times sign in there, plus 4. Because the C is already by itself over here on the left-hand side, you just use your calculator to put all that stuff together on the right. So you go 6 8 to 48, plus 4 is 52. Okay? Slightly harder one. Still using the highlighted in yellow formula. This time the C is equal to 23 over 2. So I have 23 over 2 for the C equals 6n plus 4. Okay? Now this is a bit messy because we've got fractions over there, but that's all right. Focus on the n. We want the n by itself. These are my 2 things to move away. If you like, you can switch the sides back over, but I'll do that on the next line. My first step is going to be to minus that 4. Okay? Now, as I said, I'm going to switch sides now because I want my n on the left. The 6n moves over to the left, and use your calculator. 23 over 2 minus 4 is 15 over 2. Okay, now the 6. How do I get rid of the 6? We divide by 6. Okay, so you've already got the 15 over 2 in your calculator. Just press divide by 6, and what do you get? 5 over 4. So I picked the nastier one because I had all the fractions in it. This question C will be very similar, but they'll be whole numbers. Okay. Okay, question 2. A plumber. A plumber charges a $50 call-out fee and $70 per hour. The total cost of a particular visit was $295. Define a variable to stand for the length of the visit in hours. That is your choice. You're just choosing what pronumeral, what letter you're going to use. Maybe you want N for number of hours, or H for hours, or even X. You get to choose. What do you want to go with? You want to do H for hours? Okay, so we're going to use H as our pronumeral. Okay. Write an equation to describe the problem. So our plumber charges $50 to come out to the house. Then I have to add to that $70 for every hour that he is there. Okay, so that's 70H, 70 times the number of hours. We are told that that is going to equal $295 for that particular visit. Okay? Question C says to now solve that equation. B is just write the equation down. Now I want to solve it. So H is what I want to get by itself. What do I do first? Sorry, minus the 50. Good. So I write it under here. Minus 50. Oh, wrong side. Put the other one over here. Sorry. Minus 50. I'm going to skip my working down now into C. So it'll be 70H equals 245 when I subtract that 50 off. What's my next step? Yes, divide 70. So 245 divided by 70, 3.5 hours. Okay? Okay, well, that's actually what D says. State the total length of the plumber's visit. So I've said that H is equal to 3.5. That means he was there for 3.5 hours. So it's just wanting you to realise that that was the amount of time in hours that he was there. Okay. More wordy questions. There's quite a few wordy questions in this revision. The cost of 4 hot dogs and a $3.50 hamburger is the same as, when it says the same as, it's going to be an equal sign. Okay, so that first part is going to be the left-hand side of my equation. 4 hot dogs. I need to pick a pronumeral here first. What letter should I use? Do you want H for hot dogs? We're just going to use X. X, all right. Lola says X. We're trying to find the cost of a hot dog, so the hot dog is going to be the X. Okay? So the cost of 4 hot dogs, so that will be 4 X's, and 1 $3.50 hamburger. Okay, so that would be the cost if you ordered that. 4 hot dogs and $3.50 hamburger is the same as, so that means equals to, 3 hot dogs. Well, X is a hot dog, remember, so 3 X's and 3 $2 cans of drink. How much money have I spent on cans of drink? 6. So let's just go plus 6 because that's way less confusing. There is the equation. But now to solve it, because I want to know what X is. I want to know the cost of a hot dog. So X is on both sides. Move the smaller one. So the 3X. I'm going to subtract. So I go minus 3X. Minus 3X to get rid of that. 4X take away 3X is just X. 1X, just X. I still have the $3.50 and I still have the $6 on the right. What's my next step? Yes. Okay, that gets rid of that. And X is equal to $2.50. So I put my dollar sign in there. Or even better than that is to over here say, therefore, a hot dog costs $2.50. Because X was a letter that I introduced, it's actually the cost of the hot dog. Okay, question 5. Inequalities. Represent the following inequalities on the number lines shown below. If the symbol that you have in here, see these symbols? If you have got a less than or equal to or a greater than or equal to, you use coloured in dots at the values. If it's just a less than or a greater than, we use an open dot because it can't be at that number. It has to be less than or greater than it. Okay? So if I'm trying to do A, my number is a minus 3, so you get to put the numbers on the number line. I'm going to put a minus 3 there, so that'll be minus 4, minus 2, minus 1. Just putting some numbers on that line. You just need to make sure that minus 3 is one of those numbers, right? Because that's a less than or equal to sign, you're going to do a coloured in dot at the minus 3, and less than is the point, you want to point to the numbers that are smaller than minus 3, which is the minus 4 and anything down there, minus 5, minus 6. The trick is, as long as the x is on the left-hand side, which this one is, the arrow is pointing that, so that arrow is pointing that. Whereas this one's a greater than sign. Do I need to do C? I wasn't going to do C, but do I need to do C? Do you know how to draw that one? 7 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 9. I didn't do that one, don't I? Just by Yoey's face, I need to do that one. Okay, so I need to make sure my number line shows the 7 and the 9. So 7, 8, 9. There you go, I can even fit a 6 on there for an extra one. Now, on the 7, it has the equal to sign on it. The 7 has to be a coloured in dot. So coloured in dot at 7. But the 9 does not have the equal to on it, so I'm going to open circle at the 9. When you read this thing here for x, you can read this as x is between 7 and 9. So to do your solution, you just join between those dots. Okay, so we haven't seen many of those before. Question 6. Describe the following situations as an inequality using x to stand for the unknown quality. So it says George is going to be x. George is taller than 160 centimetres. Taller than means he has to be bigger than that, right? So could he be equal to 160? No, because it says he has to be greater. He's taller than that. So not equal to it. So it'll be x is greater than 160 because George is taller than or greater than 160. That's how to write it as an inequality. Part C says Martin's test score is at least 70. So that would be the smallest score he could get is 70, but less than 80. That's kind of one of the between ones, like that one up there that I did with the dots. If his score is X, his score is between the 70 and the 80, but I do have to be careful. Are there any equal to signs on there? If it says at least 70, could he have 70? Yes. So at least 70 means yes, it could be equal to 70. But when it says less than 80, can it include the 80? No, because it has to be less than it. So it's carefully interpreting the words. Have we reached the end yet? No, we still have more. Solving the inequalities. To solve an inequality, most of the time you do the same steps as a normal equation, just doing the opposite to move things away. The only thing that you need to be careful of is if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number, not just subtracting a number, it has to be multiplying or dividing, then the inequality sign will turn around. So if it was a greater than sign, it will become a less than sign. And the other time you turn it around is if your x or your pro-numeral is on the right-hand side and you want it to be over on the left, you want to switch sides over, then you would need to turn the sign around as well. Okay, but that one probably won't happen very often. So let's have a look at these two that I've highlighted. Question C. I want to get the C by itself. There are two numbers, the 8 and the 2. What should I do? Normal equation solving, what should I do? Minus 8, good. Minus 8 here, minus 8 there. So 2C, just make sure you keep writing that greater than or equal to sign. Don't change it to a normal equals to, just got to say that sign. Minus 6 minus 8 is minus 14. Okay, what do I do next? I've got to get rid of what? Divide the 2, good. Divide by 2. So C is greater than minus 14 divided by 2 is negative 7. Okay, that's a relatively easy one because I didn't have to move any signs around. E is a harder version. I have brackets. If I have brackets, I said that I was always just going to keep it simple. I was going to expand them. So expanding 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times minus 5 is minus 10e is greater than or equal to 16. So the brackets are gone. Next step. What should I do? Which number? The 6, good, minus 6. So minus 6 here, minus 6 there. So we get negative 10e is greater than or equal to 10. This is the trick step. What's my next move? Divide. Divide by negative 10. But because I am dividing by a negative number, e will be less than or equal to, I've turned the sign the other direction, and 10 divided by minus 10 is negative 1. So look out, that's when you reverse the sign around. Look out for that dividing by a negative. That's the most common time when you turn it around. Question 8, write down the inequality represented by the number line. So we did one similar to this before. The dot is at the 3, and it's pointing to the numbers to the left or less than that. So it is x is less than or equal to, because it's coloured in dot, 3. All right, that is enough from me. Your turn. Time to go back through and fill in all the blanks and also add questions to your study sheet.